Welcome into Boxing Scene Today here at the ProBox TV studios. Well, it's official. Manny Pacquiao taking on Mario Barrios for a version of the welterweight title. 4 years since his fight against Ordinas Ugas, where it looked like the Pac-Man had slowed down. He retired. He's coming back. Can he do it? If he does, what kind of accomplishment is it? Jimmy Smith alongside the champs, Chris Algieri, Paulie Malignaggi. Gentlemen, we discussed in general terms Manny Pacquiao coming back. We didn't discuss the X's and O's of a showdown with Mario Barrios. Paulie, you're often critical of Barrios as far as 147-pounders go. You've talked about our own Nicholas Flaz. You think Nicholas Flaz beats Barrios. Yeah. He may be the weakest of the champions at 147. Is this the reason you think Manny Pacquiao's coming back? Because he sees a vulnerability here.
I think there's an opening there for him. I'll put it this way. Whether the Barrios himself being that weak is the reason Pacquiao's coming back can be debated, but I think what can't be debated is if the welterweight division was very strong, I don't think we'd see Manny Pacquiao trying to come back. So there is some truth to that. However, which way you want to see it, the welterweight division in general as a whole isn't very deep, and so I think Pacquiao sees some kind of opening there for him to, maybe he'll be able to step in and grab something. But still, at his age, even though no matter how weak Barrios is at his age. And the way he was looking in that fight. Because when you told me about that Korean fight that he did, that Korean exhibition, I went and had a look at it. He looked real bad. So I don't know.
I will say this about the exhibition. I don't know how much weight we can put into that because the exhibition he fought before that, he literally boxed a YouTuber. Mm-hmm. If you were fighting a YouTuber, if I'm fighting a YouTuber, I'm not training at all. No, I'm going to show up and I'm going to be right, exactly. So. I don't know if he expected the kickboxer to be just a notch better. Listen, that guy's a good kickboxer.
You and I know that.
He's a very high-level kickboxer. So, and a lot of high-level kickboxers have at least very decent low-level pro boxing at the very least. So, did he train for that one? Maybe not. Maybe he just showed up this one. I'm just going to beat this guy up like I did the YouTuber. And it's like, oh, no, this guy's a lot more than I thought. I should have come in shape. Oh, well. Whatever. Yeah. It's an exhibition. So this
I like
is
that devil's advocate. I like that.
I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about this. Because he looked really bad.
Some food for thought.
He looked really bad. So we don't know if that's really what we're going to see. Because, listen, the Manny Pacquiao I'm already seeing in the gym with Freddie looks better than the guy that fought Empo.
Where'd you see him in the gym?
He's in the gym already.
Did you saw him in the gym?
With Freddie, they were kind of doing pads.
They're posting this every 6 hours.
Yeah. Oh, man. Where have I been?
I don't know.
That's a good question. Where have you been? But all right, Chris, I want to shoot back with this because we were discussing this off air yesterday before the show. And one of the things I said is, how much stock do you put in training footage? You can always kind of, look good in the gym, look good hitting pads. People love the, Freddie and Manny back together, that kind of vibe. How much stock do you put in that in terms of in-ring performance?
A lot of it is nostalgia because you're looking at Freddie and Manny and they're in wild card. It's like, oh man, he's back. He's back.
Yeah, right. The band is back together.
The band is back together, right? Yeah.
But also,
Bull Boy there too.
But also, I did not see him. I didn't see Marvin Samodio either, but I know they're
back in the circle.
I'm sure he's around
now
as well.
Yeah.
But on top of the nostalgia, Manny needs to train. He's got a 12-round fight to get into. And listen, Manny's in there at 46, is he? 46?
Yeah, I think so.
46. Definitely got a little more scar tissue in his face. But
46.
He's bouncing around like he always does. He's just constantly moving. So he's getting that little base conditioning going. Obviously, he's got the watchful eye of Freddie. They know each other really well. Manny's not going to be the same guy. We saw Manny degrade when he was actually still fighting 4.5 years ago.
Right.
So we know he's not going to be even what he was then. But does he have enough of that Filipino magic to make this work? The closer this gets, the more I'm going to be like, he could do it. Because this Manny Pacquiao's special. He's the best fighter I've ever been in a ring with. He is hands down the best fighter I've ever fought. I didn't have as much respect for him prior to after, obviously. But now that I understand how difficult he is to deal with, there's no one else like him. You can't prepare for him, even at
his age?
Even at an elder version of him. Listen, he's way craftier than people give him credit for. It's not just all balls to the wall. He's very, very crafty. And if he can pull that out for 36 minutes, maybe he doesn't have to because he can, the punch is the last thing to go. Guy can punch.
What I am curious about is we just saw a retirement in MMA of Jose Aldo, who at 135 pounds was maybe 70% of what he was at 145. 70% of Jose Aldo beat 90% of other fighters in that weight class. I'm asking you percentage-wise, Paulie. What percentage of Manny Pacquiao beats Mario Barrios? 80%? 85? 75? I'm very curious about that.
80% beats Mario Barrios. I mean, even 70%.
Can we get 70?
but
We're not
yeah.
going to get 100. Can we get 70? That's the question.
That's going to be what they're working on in the lab. Is like how
Yes.
much of a prime Pacquiao can we get left? Can we get back?
I mean, here's the thing: if it is his straight left hand sharp enough, can he still pull the trigger in a way where it can be dangerous? I keep harping on the fact that Barrios is a front foot heavy fighter, and guys who are front foot heavy are easy to hit with those straight
And they're
shots.
tailor-made for Manny.
Yeah, and I don't. I also try to think of the other side of it. Can Barrios hurt Manny? Can Barrios set up Pacquiao in any way? I don't know, man. It depends. If Barrios does land the shot, how well does Manny going to take it? I'll tell you what. Manny starts rocketing in those straight left hands. I was this front foot heavy. I mean, this guy gets hit pretty cleanly. He puts his hands are up just for show because he got his hands up and he gets hit with everything anyway, Barrios, So I don't even, whether his hands are up or down, it doesn't really matter. He gets hit anyway. So Pacquiao penetrating that guard with those straight left hands. Does Barrios go down? Does Barrios get up? Does Barrios, I could see, listen, what I see, I'll tell you what I see. I see a fight where a lot of punches land because Barrios sucks and Manny's old. So I don't think
that should be the fight poster.
I don't think
Barrios sucks. Manny's old.
I don't think
June 19th.
I don't think defense is going to be a specialty in this fight. So who can take it? Who can resist a little longer?
Well, that's one thing.
I think it could be fun, but
as
at
Manny
46,
got older,
at 46, can Manny resist?
Yeah.
How many clean Manny Pacquiao left hands can Barrios take? Probably not many either, because he went down against Ramos and stuff, right?
Dude,
So
he's gonna rocket that thing first round.
Yeah.
When I fought Manny, the very first thing he did was a straight left hand, and his first step was
But
fast.
that was a decade ago, more.
Correct, but it was 11, 12 years ago.
Yeah, so
but that first shot was so quick. When you watch someone and there's like a tell. You can see something beforehand. Nothing. The glove just got bigger. Boom. And it was just there. It was like immediate boom. And the first shot hit me right on that damaged eye right away. And I was like, oh, here we go again. But like his ability to get there immediately, like it was the very first thing he did in the first round. Get it? He moved around a little bit, kind of slow, and then boom, and there that thing goes. He does that. If he still has a little bit of that left, he's got that gear shift. He's gonna crack Barrios, and the punch is the last thing to go.
We all remember the Keith Thurman fight. I was there in Vegas calling it for SiriusXM, and same thing. Thurman came in there, I thought, with a lot of confidence, and Pacquiao rocked him first. It was first round?
Yes.
Boom!
Dropped him in the first round.
Dropped him in the first round. And Thurman almost sat there. Wasn't hurt necessarily, but like in awe of, like you said, how quickly that punch came out.
And that was 5 years after I fought him.
Yes. What I'm curious about is it possible, because of the craftiness you're talking about, Chris, we look at, B-Hop, for example, got good at winning rounds, like being judicious. As your physical gifts kind of go, you might have 2 minutes of fighting in a 3-minute round. How do you space it and put it? Are we going to see a little bit more of that at Pacquiao, do you think?
So Manny changed dramatically after that man knocked him out, right behind Paulie there, Marquez. After that knockout, that changed Manny's style dramatically. He stopped being that explosive shot out of a cannon, bang bang bang, punching machine. His
It was like that against Thurman, though, in a way. He was exploded out,
He had to be, and he walked through a lot of shots. That was a weird one for me because he didn't fight me like that. He boxed me, and he boxed me really well, Manny, and he was catching me good shots. But with Thurman, he went right at him, was walking through shots, and Thurman's a decent.
All right, that's what I'm saying.
Good puncher.
We're gonna just pretend. We're gonna pretend. That's like the 800-pound gorilla. All right, he's walking through shots. Yeah. He's got a quick first step at 150 years old. He's still explosive. All right, we're the 800-pound gorilla in the room, guys. I mean, you guys know what I've been saying about the guy for years. Right. Now we're just gonna pretend like it's not there. We're gonna put the gorilla's over there. We're not gonna talk about him. We're not gonna acknowledge him. If he starts fighting like that at 46 years old, what else am I gonna think? If the 70 pro fights,
the criticism
been knocked out, been hit a lot, and was never a defensive specialist, so the shots do affect you. At what point do they affect the ability to explode off your back foot, your ability to close the gap, your ability to do all that stuff that you lose with age? That just doesn't happen? Okay. Gorilla, stay over there. Don't come in the room.
We got him chained. But in terms of Manny's style, and that's what I was talking about, his craftiness. We've seen him develop over the years. He learned certain things. He found the, what do you call it, the Filipino ice, which was the right hook, because he was a dominant left-hand fighter. It was pretty much the only thing he threw.
That was something Freddie does get credit for, right? They were talking about it a lot, where Freddie develops the right hand and the hook, and
he did it for Munguia as well. He developed the right hand, but he developed that Filipino ice, which he got in I think in 130, whatever. So he became a two-handed puncher then, and he wasn't just that explosive, off the foot, first step, left-hand guy. Then after the Marquez fight, you saw him using much more defense. He was fighting a lot of bigger guys, Brandon Rios, myself, Margarito, Cotto, those kind of guys. You can't stand in front of Cotto and get hit. And he did. He boxed smart. He's cutting angles. Can he do that, with Barrios to be able to hit and keep spinning? Because he does this move. He pops the straight left hand, and then he slides to your weak side for an orthodox fighter, which when you got a heavy front-footed guy, you end up getting hit with that speedy shot, and then you come back, and Manny's already spinning out, right? So if he still has the footwork where he can dart in and then slide around, and he can do that all night long, yeah, he's got a very real chance to be able to pull off a huge upset.
Barrios, what can he do? Paulie, I know you're critical of his skill set, but this idea that right now he's got a game plan for Manny Pacquiao. And like us, his team is going, okay, what Manny Pacquiao are we going to see? How do you train a guy like Barrios? Do you train him for the best Manny Pacquiao and assume that's the guy that shows up? How do you train for a guy like this, that there's so many X factors? He hasn't fought in 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, you got to train Barrios to work off of the thing, to work on the things that are going to be his weaknesses. I mean, I don't know if you're specifically training from Manny. There's things that glare on Barrios as far as weaknesses and as far as mistakes that anybody would take advantage of, not just Pacquiao. So I think there's things that you got to, first of all, being on the front foot like that. I mean, I don't know, man. You're a tall guy. You're jabbing on your front foot. You're staying on your front foot. And for me, guys who are on the front foot have to be punchers and have to be close range fighters. Because it's a hooking stance when you're on your front foot. Barrios is kind of a mid range fighter, but he's looking to jab, not very well, but he's still looking to jab. And he's at range where those shots at mid range will surprise him because he's on the front foot, so he's getting hit with those shots. So I think you got to take off. I don't know if you can even do that. A guy who's been fighting on the front foot his whole life.
He's 30. We're not talking about a young guy here.
For one training camp, and it's going to work. I don't know, man.
He does have Bob Santos, though, right?
Bob's a good trainer, but
very good trainer, very smart.
But I mean, I don't know, man. I think the guy sucks really bad, bro.
We get that feeling.
I don't know. I don't know.
He's saying it.
I don't know what he's doing here. I really don't know what to do with him. Because okay, he puts hands on Manny. He's got a pretty good right hand. Okay, he's got a pretty good left hook. Offensively, that's what he's going to be, his bread and butter. He's definitely no defensive specialist. Can you put hands on Manny? Is it a matter of getting Manny before Manny gets you? I think it's going to be a lot of punches landed in this fight, right? And probably maybe there's a stoppage. Who knows? But is it just a matter of be aggressive with Manny and try to put hands on him? Because if that's the case, you're still going to risk getting hit with the left hands anyway, right? But at least you're going to try to put hands on Manny, use that right hand, maybe use that right uppercut because Manny's a southpaw. He's going to kind of walk into it as a shorter southpaw. I don't know, maybe you work off those things. But I do think you have to work somewhat on those defensive liabilities. I don't know how you do it, though. I don't know if he's teachable.
I think in terms for what Barrios needs to do, number one, I think he needs to start fast. He's got to be on his P's and Q's early, and he doesn't want to let a guy who spent 4 years out of the ring get comfortable. And I don't care about how many 4-round exhibitions you did. It's very different than you're at the world-class level in a 12-rounder. So getting at him early, letting him feel what a real 47 punch is like, I think that matters. And I don't care where you hit him. Hit him in the shoulder. Don't aim for his head because Manny's he gets that tick-tock going. Even as if he slips and pops you with that left hand, it makes you think. But if you start banging his arms, hitting his gloves, I think that's a really good idea. We saw in the Ampo fight, backing him up, Manny does not have the same footwork anymore. He can't laterally move, stop on a dime, and explode. So backing him up, I think, is really important. Ampo did really good with the left hook to the body while Manny had his back against the ropes. Barrios does have a good left hook to the body. The kid can punch when you're standing in front of him like that. And then lastly, I had a nice, fun conversation with former world champion Nate Campbell recently. It was myself, Nate. Were you there? I don't know if you were with us. I don't know if you were involved in the conversation. And Marquez was in earshot. So Nate starts talking. He's like, you know what you got to do when you fight Manny? And he goes, that guy did it. That's what you got to do. You got to do what Marquez did. He's like, you got to stand your ground. He's like, you can't give him ground because he's going to chase you down and run you over. And you can't chase him because he's going to counter and go into you. So he said when Manny attacks, he's like, you got to bite down and you got to stand your ground. You got to get your head offline and drop that right hand. Similar to what Marquez did. And he's absolutely right. I've realized that when I was training for him too. I just didn't have the physicality to do it at that time. So Barrios, yeah, he's going to take some shots. He gets hit by everybody, but he needs to bite down, stand his ground, let that right hand fly, and then once he gets Manny to stop projectiling in, back him up and beat the hell out of his body along the ropes.
When you look at this fight, Keith Thurman tried to kind of physically bully Manny early and ran into that combo, got knocked down early. Paulie, by what round are you going to think, okay, Pacquiao's got enough back that I think this might be an issue? Round 3, instantly,
I think you'll know right away.
Yeah.
I think you'll know within the first round or two. You know, I think the mental game starts right away as far as the physical and the physical game as well. I think both guys are going to try to impose themselves right away, and I think you'll be able to see what each one has as far as resistance and what each one has as far as the ability to set the other guy up and put hands on the other guy. I think it's going to happen right away. Like I said, I don't think defense is going to be a specialty in this fight. I think, like I said, I think Manny's old and Barrios sucks, and it's not just what I think. I think that's really the way it is, and I think that people are going to see these guys put hands on each other. So I think we'll know right away if Manny has a realistic chance, depending on how he's taking the shots Barrios is hitting him with, how often he's able to connect with his power, and how Barrios is reacting to it as well. I think we'll know right away.
Let's go from the start to the finish, because we were all in a car. We were in San Antonio, Texas. I was sitting next to that man, Juan Manuel Marquez, going to an event, and we were talking about his fight with Pacquiao. The first one, where he was knocked down 3 times in the first round. And I said, what were you thinking when you went back to your corner? He goes, Nacho Beristain turned to me, and he said, hard part's over. And he goes, it totally realigned the way I got my butt kicked in that first round. And he goes, hard part's over. He just gave you everything he's got. You're still here. Don't worry about it. You're going to get this back. Nacho Beristain, of course.
Nice thought.
A nice thought, but a Hall of Fame trainer who knew what to say. So what I mean is, no matter how it starts, Barrios' corner can go, the guy in front of you, when you were born, he was in high school. No matter how this fight starts, we're going to finish stronger than he will. Chris, would that be the mental game you're playing for Barrios? No matter how those first 3 rounds go, going, hey, you have the advantage. You're going to take this guy late. And remember, Marquez fought back to a draw in that fight. But this idea that no matter what happens early, that idea that I'm 30, you're 46, I'm going to outlast you, is that a factor?
Barrios is going to be a favorite for a reason. You know, we have a 46-year-old guy who's got 70+ fights, a lot of damage, has been out of the ring for 4 years, didn't look good in his exhibition, quote unquote, comeback. I mean, there's a reason that Barrios is going to be, rightfully so, the favorite going into the fight. And there's always that. Doesn't matter. He could get dropped. He can get cut. He could break his nose. All of those things can happen. 12 rounds is a really long time. Yeah. And 12 rounds for a 46-year-old who's been out of the ring. Champ, I know I saw you right away. You nodded your head. 12 rounds for when you've been out of the ring for 4 years is an eternity.
And it's also just being older. When you're older, you get in shape, and your legs just aren't there for the 12 rounds.
Also, Manny's got to make weight.
Yeah.
Like, Manny's not anywhere near weight right now.
That's a real cut.
You can see him. Yeah, like listen, he's not a big guy at all. But I remember when I fought him at 47, and we fought at 44. Which I don't know why we did that. But anyway, I remember in the press tour before, he was a little heavy. And I was like, oh, okay, this guy's cutting weight. Everybody says he's so small. You're so much bigger than him. And I'm like, all right. But I mean, I still was bigger than him. But then fight week, I kept hearing reports. I wasn't training much fight week. You know, I make the weight and then I just rest. He trained every single day of fight week. That tells me that he was cutting weight. And then when we got to the scale, I'm looking next to him. I'm like, this guy's way bigger than I expected. Like, I'm looking at his hips, I'm looking at his legs, looking at his calves, looking at his fists. I'm like, I'm supposed to be the bigger man here. I don't feel bigger than when I'm standing next to him. And on fight night, he didn't seem small to me either. So he's gonna have to make this weight. You know, it's for real. And being 4 years out of the ring, it's all harder when you're older. Your body's different. So there's all these factors that exactly what you're saying, Jamie. It's like, doesn't matter how this fight starts. Barrios is always going to be in this fight. Right. He could be down. He could have a broken nose. Like I said, he could be cut. He could be bleeding.
You got
an older man in front of you.
Barrios does have heart. You know, he gets up. He fights. You know, he has character at least.
The idea that Barrios can last Pacquiao in a sense, or this idea that maybe that back half is going to belong to him. How much are you going to be looking at? There are times when we as commentators, we're calling the fight, and during the breaks, whatever, they're running commercials, we're getting our notes together, we're doing whatever we need to do. There are other times when between rounds, we're looking at the fighter because we go, man, he just took a shellacking. How's he doing? Sometimes they're rock solid. They're focused on their opponent. Okay, they look good. How much are you, as a fan, going to be looking at Pacquiao in the corner for those moments of going, I'm 46, I have plenty of money, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? That idea that you start thinking things maybe don't think in your prime.
I think when the going gets tough, you're bound to run into some tough moments in this fight. I think both guys are, but it's always a lot harder to get through them when you're a little bit older. I think in the second half of the fight, especially if things do get rough at any point in the second half of the fight. One thing about Manny, he's always had heart, though. He's always had
in the Thurman fight, it got rough in the middle rounds. He was walking through bombs, and he stayed tough, and he actually hurt Thurman late too.
Yeah. No comment on him walking through bombs and hurting guys late at 40 years old. I'm sorry, guys. I can't do it. I can only take the conversation so far before I got to stop pretending.
But Paulie, here's the idea, and where you're not wrong. The PED accusations and suspicions have been there from the beginning of Pacquiao's career.
I'm not the only one is when I
right. No,
but Crawford arguing it recently in an interview about Manny, and he won't give Manny credit about it.
Exactly. So it's not like you're.
I'm hands off, but I can tiptoe around it, but until we started to get too close to that fire, and then I'm like, all right, guys, what do you want me to tell you?
Right, but you get what I'm saying.
Shots, exploding at 40 years old,
going from 106 to 147,
power, holding power of 106 to 147. That was my argument from the beginning. But,
right, exactly.
Late rounds power in general at this advanced stage. I mean, what do you want me to tell you?
But what I'm curious about,
Chris, can't have it.
We can't have it. Commiserating, talking, can't have it. All these boxers commiserating. Yeah. Look, here's the deal, Chris. Would it be almost, God, I don't want to say Lance Armstrong coming back in 2009, but this idea that if he comes back, and let's, hey, Elephant, come here. If he looks great at 46, could it damage his legacy more than it helps him? Lance Armstrong coming back in 2009 killed him because people started looking under the hood because he looked great after all these doping allegations and stuff. A different sport, different thing. But the idea of if he comes back at 46 and looks great, could it open a can of worms that could hurt his legs?
Doesn't even care, dude.
No.
Really? I'm honestly asking as a fan.
Absolutely shameless and spineless. They vote guys.
No, not at all?
They vote guys who failed for PED tests first ballot Hall of Fame. Yeah. First ballot. They don't even make them wait. I mean, boxing is absolutely.
I'm honestly curious as a boxing fan.
Shameless. Let's be more honest. Let's pull the curtain back even more.
Right, yeah.
When those guys get caught, that gets swept under the rug. And you don't hear about it.
Yeah.
So.
And then they do get, even if they do get caught, first ballot Hall of Famers. There's baseball players that are still trying to get in the Hall of Fame, and most people think they belong in the Hall of Fame, but they won't get in because of PEDs.
And like Lance Armstrong,
boxing, first ballot, even if you got caught, first ballot. It is the most spineless, shameless of all businesses. No comment past that.
And like Lance, he was so big that I'm sure it hurt the entire sport for him to get caught. He pissed people off. There's a reason he got caught.
Yeah.
So I don't see that happening with me.
And Pacquiao's a beloved figure in boxing, in the Philippines, of course, especially. But hey, I ask the tough questions. It's what I do. Boxing Scene. You know the date, June 19th. Manny Pacquiao trying to make a great career comeback. As it makes news, we'll talk about it right here. For the champs, I'm Jimmy Smith. Tune in, find out why millions are watching.